Well, my understanding of Wilde didn't ever change, actually. I love the dark side of Wilde rather than the Café Royal and the successful plays and marriage and children. What I love about him, in the same way that I like Verlaine, the poet, he's one of the last great vagabonds of the 19th century. Jailbirds, ruined, former stars, drunk on absinthe, kind of hallucinating, smelling of sweat and cigarettes, and moving from one cheap hotel to another on the verge of the new century, this 20th century about to start. There must have been a feeling of this century about to start, because there was electric light everywhere. Paris was the city of light, and this guy sitting there just drunk every day. For me, never seeing his family, knowing he had children somewhere but he'd never find them again, seeing his old acquaintance cross the road to avoid talking to him, his only friends being little street urchins and people who sold matches, and this person who used to hold the whole world in thrall. That to me is a story. I knew about it a lot. I'd read the Richard Ellman book, and it's a short chapter, the last chapter of Ellman's book, because Ellman was quite unwell by the time he got to the end. So, but it always got me, Oscar Wilde in Paris, and Paris in general as well as a city in the 19th century. So it was always, I found there was a lot of allure in the story, particularly when I went to live in Paris. I still found, myself wondering about him, and I think it's a lovely story. Well, I decided to try and direct the film after a ton of directors had turned me down, and I didn't really think anything. I was kind of hell-bent on the survival of the script, because a script that isn't made doesn't exist. So, I just wanted to get it made. And then during the 8 years of trying to get it made, it became a kind of life and death situation for me. Well, I didn't enjoy the process because it was very stressful, but I did enjoy, I do want to do it again. I found the pressure, the producing pressure of it really hard, and the timing of it, and it was very, very tiring. But yeah, no, I've changed my mind, definitely. Well, I think it's very difficult. History is so subjective in a way, isn't it? I feel I've got to the centre of Wilde. So I feel he would feel, well, this is my story. Merlin Holland said today in the Guardian that he might think there were a few things that weren't quite accurate, but then come up with something much more outrageous himself. I feel that's how he was. I really do. I've read everything, I've looked at everything. He isn't recorded dancing on a table and singing, but for me it was an irresistible thing to write, because here was a man who'd been used to giving first night speeches, and I wanted to show him this was true, that he wasn't victimized by what happened to him. He kind of went on, and if he wasn't performing in the theatre, I wanted to show him still being a performer, and if it was on top of a table in a pub, then for me that was a very accurate way of showing him in general, even if he didn't precisely do that. So I feel that it's a true version of Oscar Wilde.